Okay, we are live. Hello. Hi, everyone. I have some lovely ladies here with me today. I have Bree and I have Katie.
Hello.
I wasn't even sure what to title this video.
We're gonna figure that out later.
But it is revolving around self-worth. That's what we titled it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, self-worth. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's been such a lovely day.
Gist.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what the gist is.
But we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand it over to Katie. I'm going to give you the mic and tell us what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Mic drop. So, hi, everybody. My name's Katie, and I just want to take a moment to say that I am so blessed and so grateful to be with these two lovely ladies. They're such like strong staples in my life. They've just been able to give me, and I don't even think they realize how much they've been able to give me. I feel grateful to have such strong women in my life that I can go to and that I can come to about anything, and that they're always there for me. Especially, and understanding, and they're amazing, beautiful healers, and I feel blessed to be in their presence. So, gosh, the past couple months have been an interesting journey. Things have been roller coastering, like as life likes to do. It's never, we never placate. We're never just even. Things are always up and things are always down. And so I've been coming into the realization, I've been doing some self-work with myself and self-work with myself. That seems kind of redundant, but I've been doing some work with myself, basically coming to conclusions, bringing myself into different headspaces, different perspectives. And so I have some people that I'm working through some of these things with. I'm doing kind of like a step work program to help me come to realizations about myself and about different character things that are going on that have always been there and that will always be there in my life. And so basically like the underlying thing of everything with me and what's run my life, most of my life, and I mean, I can say this for myself, but it's been fear. It's been like, fear of acceptance. It's been fear of abandonment. It's been fear of all these things that I absolutely have no control over, because it's source that is in control of these things. And, it brings up feelings of self-worth and just not being like fulfilling your or being fearful of not fulfilling your potential, when the fact of the matter is that in absolutely every moment we're always perfect and we're always exactly where we need to be. It's just a matter of being present and bringing yourself into the situation and knowing that that you have the answers that you need and that the resources that you need, everything will be brought to you if you just believe that it will be and you attract it to yourself. One thing that's really helped me on my journey that I think is like one of the most beautiful things, and I'm going to read it, but it's a variation, because there's many variations of it, but of the prayer of St. Francis. And I really think that it's something that can be helpful to lots of people on their journey. Like he was a man, he knew what he was doing. And he wrote that, a lot of people don't know this, but he wrote this prayer based on based on a meta sequence. So it was basically mathematically timed out to like hit in certain points and be resonating to your energetic body and to hit you in certain places to be able to clear energy out. So I thought that that was really beautiful as well. But it's, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born again to eternal life. So I'm going to let a little bit, we'll go back and forth, but that's kind of what's been going on with me right now, where I've been at with some things.
Katie, I just want to say I love you. You know that. I'm always here. We're always here for you. And that's what it's all about. Is we talked about this earlier on Facebook, being there for your friends and having that open communication. And part of that is creating the environment to do so, listening with your heart. And not being judgmental. And when you create that environment for you and your friends, you'll have more of those authentic exchanges and heart-to-heart conversations, and that's where the healing truly takes place. So I'm going to pass it on to you.
Yeah, listening with your heart is really big. I remember, like, when I was younger, somebody had commented, like, you're a really good listener to me. And that was very, like, it stuck with me. I was like, wow, what a nice compliment. And now I understand it at a whole new level. It's like when you're listening to somebody, like if you actually give them your attention, your presence, your consciousness, you give them that safe space to just share themselves and share their own perspectives on their reality. It's such a beautiful way to exchange, and it's really important to have, a space like that. So, if you're, it's just important to find that in whatever way you can. And I think it does have to kind of start with ourselves first, right? Being authentic with ourselves and who we are. And that's another thing we were talking about earlier. And so like with what Katie was saying, like right before we got on this call, she was talking about things, centered around fear that she had been struggling with majorly recently. And I was like, wow, same here. Like we're going through extremely similar things. Like fear of all these different things ultimately coming down to self-worth and like just love, like self-love that then reflects out into everything that you see and know. That becomes an outward presence perhaps of love, or the illusion of lack of love, whatever it is. I don't know. I think that
it's an illusion. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. There's never any lack of love because you are love.
Because all energy is just love, because
it's all there ever is.
Created.
All there ever is.
And I think that self-worth is like something that you have to really, really, if you like zoom out on yourself, like from a bird's eye view, and really look at like who you are and the situations you have in your life and the people you have around you and the things that you've created and all these experiences that you have had, like it becomes a lot easier, at least for myself, to really see like all these scenarios and start to be like, wait, like it's all based on my perspective. And if I have an external perspective that is unattached to all these things that I've been through, it becomes a lot easier to see the truth in the whole thing, especially about self-worth. So that's just a little exercise you can maybe try if you're having a hard time dealing with the density of the emotions and all of these things that we have to just figure out, I guess, while we're here. Looking at yourself from a more external view and really just zooming out and just seeing like, what are you doing and what would you like to be doing and how can you start to move forward to get there, and take those little baby steps. And sometimes it might just be like writing in a journal, or I mean, it can be the smallest little things. It doesn't have to be like, I'm going to wake up in the morning and be a, this, that, or the other automatically, it's going to take time, but like everything will fall into place. So
everything is in divine order. I do want to talk about like when we're going through these. Hi, Lucy. Thank you for joining. And please, those that have joined the live chat, feel free to interact with us. Yeah. If you have anything to add or whatever,
please.
I'm watching. So, when we're going through these heavy energies, and believe me, I've been going through them. everything that you guys are going through. I've been going through it. And as I look back on my experiences, I didn't realize it then, but strangers bring you messages.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And, you know, people always felt comfortable enough, strangers, to talk to me. And it used to make me really, really uncomfortable. But as I'm looking back on it now, there was this one guy. This is like, God, I'm telling my age, but way before Uber. I was taking a cab out somewhere. I was meeting friends downtown. And the cab driver started talking to me. He's from either Afghanistan or Pakistan. I can't remember. And we ended up talking about religion. And I was like, oh boy, is this something that, you know, I should really talk to somebody about? I didn't really have any strong views on it. You know, I've always been accepting of all religion. Anyway, so he was telling me in his religion, Islam, they believe that they came here or they were brought here to earth to give thanks to God, to Allah. And for every experiences that you have, you give thanks, good, bad, or ugly. And I was just like, really? You're not here to enjoy your life? You know, I kind of challenged him a little bit, not like in a snotty way, but, you know, I was like, really? You're not here to enjoy your life? You're only here to give thanks? And so I kind of said, all right, whatever, and moved on. And I realized now, as I'm going through all of these energies, the transformative energies, what seemed to have helped me overcome certain obstacles where I thought were obstacles, you know, was giving thanks, giving gratitude. And I thought about this man, you know, like recently when I started to give thanks, and that's when the heaviness went away, and I was able to gain perspective on what's really going on. So anyway, that was interesting experience, but definitely showing gratitude to the universe helps.
And even if it's just a conscious, like, man, I'm thankful for this very interesting predicament that I've gotten myself into. Thank you for this. Even if it has to be sarcastic at the moment, I mean, you know, like, great, I'm really happy.
You don't have to be happy about it, but
it'll turn into something.
It will. It really will, though. You don't have to be happy about it. You definitely don't have to discount your true feelings and emotions. Definitely release whatever you have to release, because, you know, those are hormones. You can't suppress them. You know, it's going to turn to illness. So definitely release your emotions. However, on a conscious level, showing gratitude to the universe sends the message that you have accepted what is. Mm-hmm. You have accepted it, and you're not trying to control it, and you're allowing this energy to move through you, and it will move through you. When you resist it, it's like you have taken residence in that dense, murky energy. You've moved in and you have unpacked and you've accepted that which really isn't for you to accept, you know. But when you resist it a little less through gratitude or however you do it, you're allowing this energy to move through you, and you're learning from that experience, and you'll gain a perspective, you know, and you're expanding consciously. And so that is what this is all about. So yeah, I'm going to toss it to you, Katie.
Yeah, definitely the experience, you know, we're spiritual beings here in human bodies having a human experience. And I have to say that the universe most definitely has a sense of humor, because sometimes the way that it likes to show us things is in the most unexpected ways, because that is what's going to get through to ourselves and our thick human skulls. You know what I mean? Yeah, a couple things off of what you guys said. I really enjoyed what you had to say. You know, for me, a big part of my journey has been letting go of attachment to the outcome. And that's part of allowing and having faith and trusting the universe and trusting that, you know, source is going to bring you what you need in life. When you let go of attachment to that outcome, man, the most beautiful transformations and things can happen in your life. You know, and even like, you know, a caterpillar before it transforms into a butterfly isn't like, yeah, I'm going to crawl into this cocoon and I'm going to like wrap myself up and close myself off from the world and maybe I'll die, maybe I won't. It doesn't know what's on the other side. You know what I mean? It just trusts and it has faith and it does what it feels that it's supposed to do. And then in the end, it got way more out of life than it could have ever even imagined. It flies. It takes flight. Like, what? Yes, please. Also too, like, you know, Bree, I think earlier you were sharing about like being a good listener and being present and really being a part of the experience, you know. And I always have a lot of really random people come up and talk to me too, Adey. It's really crazy. Like I have people coming up telling me their life stories, like different crazy things, nuances that are happening in their life. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is a thing. All right, we're going to talk right now, I guess. But you know, I'm open to it. And I believe that it's part of my vibration that puts that out, that people are willing to come up to me and share certain things with me. And more times than not, you know, they've got a really good piece of information for me. There's something that I get out of it. But as far as sharing space, I read this beautiful thing one time that it was like sharing a breath, basically, that when you share a breath with someone, that when you breathe in at the same time as them, it's sharing space and it's sharing your spirits, and it connects you to another and it opens you up and it opens up your communication with them. So that's a really beautiful practice if like you're not really being as present, like watch someone's breathing and just breathe with them. I actually frequently like to do that in my energy sessions. Like I time my breathing with their breathing because I notice that it gives us a deeper connection and it really helps them to kind of let go and to like breathe that breath in fully and then just like let it all out. It's a really beautiful thing.
Wow, that's fascinating. Can I stop you for just
yeah, absolutely.
On that note, I had been internet stability problems, internet connectivity problems. If you're having like major internet hangups and you're like trying to chat with somebody online or something and you're like, what is going on here? Like my Wi-Fi says that it's fine, you know, like my internet shouldn't be cutting out on me. Like if there's discordant energies that are like screwing it up, if you guys both consciously sit there and you're like, okay, let's breathe together, let's like center ourselves, ground ourselves, connect together, sync everything up. I swear to God, every time I have done this, it has worked. And it has been like with people that are having major, you know, when we would first get into the chat, it would be like, could hear every other word. And I stopped and I was just like, I can't hear you. We need to do this quickly. Let's just chill out here for a second. And it works. I swear it frickin' works. So that's so cool that you said that on another, that just gave me like a whole nother understanding of that. And then the whole phrase, what is another word for God? Breath. Okay. Okay, I'm digging that. I'm gonna keep saying
I
really I love that
because it's one thing to hear. Oh,
because breath is life.
Yeah,
breath is life.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Like, okay, there's pranic energies everywhere, and we're all all of that stuff, and you're breathing. Okay, I get it, but like to hear that phrase, God is breath, I was just like, or source is breath.
Yes.
You know, it's like
I love that.
Man, after being a shallow, unconscious breather for so many years, I'm digging that. So I just wanted to just add on to so thank you, Katie, and I'm sorry for interrupting you. Please.
No. Oh my God, no. It's a full conversation. Yeah, you're good. I love that. I've never heard that before, so that's actually a really good piece that I'm going to take with me. I enjoy that. I'm going to use it. I'm stealing it. So, you know, and then so basing off of that, taking that moment to like breathe with somebody and share the space with them and be present, you know, every moment and every interaction matters. All interactions are important because we don't have all the answers, and our God speaks to us in different ways through other people, through situations, through circumstances. So if we're open and we're actually listening to these things, like I said, we'll be provided the resources and the answers that we need. It's just a matter about allowing and being open to accept what's coming to us. Also too, so you were talking about like like, not to-do lists, that's not the word you use, but like planning out things to do in the day. And like, you know, I actually had come to, I read something earlier today, sorry, I'm a little scattered. So I read something earlier today that was talking about that instead of making a list of like 20 things to do, that you should pick 3 things that are the most important things. That way you can focus more energy on them. You can do them more productively. You can feel good about them and put more present energy into them. And I was thinking about it because like I always am like trying to list like 1,000 things to do, and I'm like, oh, I got to get this done, I got to get that done, and it's overwhelming. And then also too, I feel like that directly relates to self-worth, because in our culture we have been taught that like actions are self-worth based, or like completion, our success is like intrinsic on what we get done. But like that is just not true. Like we are all so much, we should be giving ourselves way more credit than we actually do. We have, you know, so much more that that consists within us, that we are, that, you know, are beings. And you know, like if we could just slow down a little bit and trust the process a little bit more, and trust the universe, and understand that like we are right where we need to be, and that we are in perfect timing, and then kind of like focus on more things to give it more of a quality and give it more of a you know, a full energy, more presence, basically. Like I was just saying, like I'm starting to repeat myself, but yeah, so you know, you get the idea.
Wow, I like that so much. I'm so glad you said that. And especially like, because I had heard this the other day, like to add on to what you're saying, like not only making a list of like just a few things, like the top priorities, the most important, but also make lists of things that you've accomplished.
Yes,
like,
give yourself credit where credit's due.
Things, like positive things, because if you always are making lists of things that are in the future that you haven't yet done, and you're somebody who, like I have enjoyed doing in my past, is like, oh, there's all these things I have to do. Let me beat myself up over it for a while and see how that feels. Okay.
Right.
Oh, that's going to help me do my stuff. No.
Yeah, right.
So
living in the future.
Yeah, like finding different, like instead of having all this resistance geared towards, oh, now I have a list of things that I have to do that I don't want to do because it's so big and I'm so overwhelmed, finding other better solutions, because we are actually learning how to navigate in an entirely new dimension, because the frequencies are rising and everything is changing and time is slippery, and like our memories are going out the window. Like we're no longer functioning as we used. We can't sit down and read a textbook and be like, okay, now I can take this exam and now I know these things permanently and now I can get this job in this career. And no, it doesn't. This world doesn't work like that anymore, and it's continuing to change like more and more rapidly, and it's so crazy awesome that we get to experience this, and nobody knows what's going to happen because it's the unknown. So
oh wait,
absolutely.
Oh, go.
Being like,
I wanted to just give a shout out to the people in the chats, and Emmy, I loved what she said. It goes along with what we said earlier, but she said you could be grateful for having the intent and the desire that you will accomplish things. And what I want to add on to that,
beautiful.
When you're making a to-do list, writing out a goal or whatever it is, it's important to make it realistic. You know, how realistic is it? Or whatever it is that you're setting out for yourself when you're setting intentions, like on the full moon or whatever it is, whatever you're asking the universe to provide for you, how realistic is it? And how is it adding to value to my situation, to my life, and how is this gonna assist me in my growth? You know, we're always striving for growth. That's what we're here for. And so it's important to also consider all of that when you're making these goals and these lists or whatever it is that you're doing. So
absolutely.
Awesome. Katie?
Yeah, I really like that you said that, actually, about like how is it gonna serve me? Because, you know, I don't know that I have really, I guess in certain times, but like I don't think consciously I've thought about how is this going to improve, you know, this situation, how is this going to help me to grow? But it's interesting because, you know, we are here for growth, and growth is, you know, it's it's one of the most important things. Like, I hope that I'm growing until the day that I die, for sure. And what I realized with a lot of these fear-based ideas that I had, that I was literally self-sabotaging myself for growth, which is the one thing that I love. Like, that's so insane that, you don't just give up the control, because if we give up and we allow the spirit to move through us, and we're able to grow to these new heights that sometimes we didn't even think was possible. And so, I do think that it is important to base your goals in realistic senses, but I do also think that, sometimes we limit ourselves a lot. So something that may seem like it's unrealistic could actually be totally within your realm of self-worth and your reach and your possibilities. So it's important to evaluate these things and to understand that, one thing that we can achieve these things, and we can achieve these heights. There was one thing in sales that I really, really enjoyed to hear, and this helped me be a monster at sales. Like, I took this saying and ran with it. I would tell the people that I was selling stuff to this phrase, and they loved it. They're like, oh, that's so good. And I'm like, oh, I know, I use it with everybody. But aim for the stars so that you land on the roof, because if you aim for the roof, you're going to land on your ass. So you might as well, aim big so that you can get into a plane that is realistic and level. And then also too, that part of that goes to is like, so maybe you don't hit the stars every time, and that's fine. But it helps to aim big, because then, that's what I was going to say. Okay. So that works with losing attachment to the outcome. So when you're not so attached to the outcome, it doesn't matter, like, you're where you need to be. And sometimes the attachment to the outcome that we have is like completely the wrong thing for us, but we're children and we don't know what's right for us. And so we're like, oh no, this is what I need. And like, you cling on to it, but it's like, oh no. And Source is like, I got you, pause. Like, let's think about this. And so, it brings us into these realizations of like, okay, like, yes, I've let go of the attachment to this outcome, and I've been able to grow over here. And this is so much better than I could have even imagined. And it's so beautiful.
I want to add to that. Actually,
I love that.
I love that you said that, because losing attachments to outcomes was a huge lesson for me. It was the biggest thing I learned. I grew up thinking, because I'm so focused in what I do, I almost get like tunnel vision, and I just zero in on my target and what I want. And it's not like I don't care how I get there, but I just keep my eye on the prize. But what I realized is this: if a certain desire or something doesn't go your way, it's not that you did anything wrong. And like you said, Source knows best. And it probably wasn't the best thing for you to do or go through anyway. And there's reasons why Source and the universe open different doors for you. You know what I mean? I don't want to say take anything away, because that's not what it is. But, you get shown a different path, a different doorway. And that is possibly, thank you for doing that. That is possibly because whatever they have planned for you is much greater.
Possibly.
No, okay, it is. For sure it is. Whatever Source or the universe has planned for you it's a lot it's on a grander scale than what you could have imagined. And so that's why allowing for changes and transitions and transformations to take place is so important. And I know it's so scary, because we are going to the unknown. We don't know what's waiting for us.
We don't know.
On the other side of
nobody knows.
They know.
It's like the butterfly. The butterfly doesn't know it's gonna fly. It just does what it.
What I meant by
you just
that
have
is
to trust.
What I was referring to is like the fact that the planet is raising into a higher dimension with its species.
With its
on
children.
It, with its as opposed to, from what I've heard, it sounds as though this either hasn't happened before or is extremely rare. So kudos to us for being total troopers, because what? So
yes,
that's what I meant by like,
helps. Oh, I know.
Everybody's confused on how this is going to affect, like, especially, the consciousness of everything here, of all life.
Well, yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, they do know up in spirit
and they've
what's
done
happening.
It. They've done it
but
too.
We do have free will here that we work through and navigate through. So the smaller details or how we get to that outcome that spirit has planned for us, it varies. It varies from person to person, situation to situation. But it is really all beautiful if you allow it to unfold the way that a higher source has planned for that to unfold for you, you know? And of course, giving up control is the hardest thing that I have ever had to do. But it comes to a point where, especially if this is like an event that is predestined and predetermined, and it's not something your free will can change, like it's supposed to happen, you're just going to make it harder on yourself by resisting and by trying to control it, you know?
Resistance does.
What resists persists.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm learning that just giving up control and having faith. And so far, I promise you, it has not let me down. It has not let me down. Every situation that I was in that has not turned out to my desired outcome has surprised me in the most profound way. The most profound way. And I'm happy. I am completely happy. My heart is filled with love. I wake up every morning just in love with my life and with everything. And this is because I have given up control to a certain degree to allow spirit to take, you know, to let whatever needs to take place, you know?
And one thing I want to say on that, I really enjoy that you said that, is, you know, there are, because you said give up with the control that I needed to, because there are certain aspects of our life that we do have control over. And what do you think? Let's think about this. What do we actually have control of? We have control of our emotions, of our thoughts, of the way that we choose to perceive things. And those are the things that really, like, you know, it's your perspective. Yeah, and our breath, awareness. Oh my God, yes, exactly. So it's beautiful because, you know, there is certain aspects of our life that we are able to control and that it's actually beneficial for us to control, but it's, you know, the other stuff that we shouldn't be sweating, you know, like focus on what you can control, which are those things, your actions, how you treat other people, you know, and that's going to completely change the type of interactions that are brought to you in your life and the type of people that are, you know, brought to you. It's interesting how like something like your perspective changing can totally change your vibration, you know, and make you a completely different person. I went through so many perspective changes, and I really enjoy the analogy of a spiral in life and how we're always constantly coming to the same information, but in a different point of the spiral, because that's how exactly my life has been, is coming into these lessons or these things that I've been able to grasp and learn in my life, and then coming back to it again, but seeing it in completely new eyes. And it's just like, oh my God, I didn't think that my mind could be blown as many times as it has been in this life. But it totally has.
Mind blown.
There's this meme that I love. It's like a gift.
Absolutely.
Yeah. With like the explosions happening all around. It's just like, like that's how I feel in my life.
And also I find, you know, like when I do give up certain controls and I allow spirit to do what it does for me, I get a chance to look at all the miracles that are happening around me that I never seen before. And I mean, like, friends like you guys, people that I interact with daily, nature, even like, you know, my spirituality and this business that I'm trying to grow.
And your beautiful clients that are amazing.
And my clients that I, oh my God, interact with, they send me the most amazing messages, and they're all blessings. We're all blessings to each other if we only allow ourselves to see that. You don't know how much of a blessing you are to someone until spirit just shakes you and tells you, like, take a look around you. You are blessed. What are you, like, you know, so distraught about, you know? Yeah. Look at all the blessings that are continually coming into your life.
I know that.
Why are you focused on the one thing that you can't control?
I know all three of us recently have
we've had that wake up call, right?
We've been like bitch slapped in the face. Like,
I
I almost said smack, but I'm sorry. It's been a bitch slap.
No, you're right. It's a total bitch
I'm
slap.
sorry.
Not sorry, YouTube, because
I know. Be true to yourself.
It's been a
Yes.
interesting wake up call. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love
It
that.
certainly did.
These energies recently have been facilitating a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah. I just want to like
Yes.
challenge you guys and challenge the viewers, you know, really take a look at what's around you. Look at all of your blessings and you will realize how truly blessed that you are.
Yeah.
Whatever you think that you're lacking, that is not going your way, it doesn't matter because there is a bigger plan for you.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
You know, gratitude has been my biggest grounding thing. It's amazing how much it can like make you fall into yourself and you just sit and think about the things that you can be grateful for as opposed to thinking about the things that are going wrong in your life, because you know that goes along with like what you resist is what you persist. So if you're sitting there thinking about a list of the things that aren't going right in your life, guess what? There's going to be a bunch more that's not going on right in your life because you're thinking that and you're bringing that to yourself. But you know, when you think about things that you can be grateful for, then you're attracting more things to be grateful for in your life. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. And so there's an exercise that I actually really always liked to do. And I haven't done it in a while. I actually probably will do this since I'm talking about it. But if you have like a favorite stone or something that's like important to you, like a token, to like keep it in your pocket. And then every time your hand comes across it, to think of something that you're grateful for. That way, you know, you're not, because, you know, sometimes, you know, making a list of things you're grateful for is good, but then sometimes you feel like it's too much like schoolwork or you're like, man, like I don't think about things I'm grateful for. But like when it's just one thing each time you come across to it, it's like, okay, like I can think of one thing. And then several times throughout the day, like you're constantly bringing it back to yourself. You're constantly giving yourself that reminder. So for me, that's been a good tool that's worked. Yeah.
I also want to add, I don't know why this came to mind, but because I work with people that aren't really too open to all of this. And so I see every single day people just being frustrated with money especially, and not making enough, you know, and this is what I say to them, and it's proven to be true for me. If you are harnessing this energy where you just want to hold on to your money and you feel like you never have enough, that is the energy you're sending out to the universe. So therefore, you're not going to get abundance. And I'm not telling everyone to go out there and just start spending money and give your money away. But if you start letting go a little bit, you know, accept your present situation and not hold so tightly to your money, you're showing the universe that this is the energy I'm emitting. Money isn't everything. It's not ruling my life. And I do have enough, you know, to feed myself. You know, I have the basic necessities. True abundance comes to you because you're not putting in all of your energy of holding tight to something that truly doesn't belong to you in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Money, I see it as energy.
It is.
That's what it is. And you can attract it with your energy. Yeah. You can attract it with your energy.
But you can see, you don't even have to see it as energy if that's too like esoteric. Money is akin to flowing water. You know, you can put a dam in the water, which would be a belief system of I'm never having enough, I'm in lack. Or like, no, it's a flowing river and it's coming right towards me.
You know what like comes to mind, and this may be a bit off topic, but it's just like something that I've always wondered about is why as humans do we feel the need to, I don't want to say have possessions, but like have ownership of things that really do not belong to us. Like where?
Oh my God, I love that you just
like
said that.
Land, you mean?
Not land, people,
like
money,
the planet.
Yes.
Why?
Let me interject with that. So I read something about that earlier that was like talking about. that we have here, like materialistic possessions, people, like everything, what you're saying, land, all that, it's all God's or source or higher power, whatever. So it's all borrowed. It's not even ours anyway. And you don't take it with you when you leave. So it's like, why are you stressing?
Listen,
because we've been told to.
We've been conditioned. I know, but wow, it's amazing.
It's a program.
Just hold on to stuff that really doesn't belong to them in the first place.
I won't go into detail, but like if you have something happen, like a giant fire that burns your stuff down, or like some crazy natural disaster.
Why do you think people go through that? You think it's for?
I was just gonna say,
when I went through that, it taught me a great lesson. It taught me a great lesson.
I had a friend.
Material items mean nothing.
They don't.
Bullshit.
It comes back. It comes back.
In amazing ways.
You know what? I went through that lesson too because I totaled my car last summer. Actually, after we got back from Arkansas, not even like days, like a week later, I got into this crazy accident and I totaled my car. And this is like the
and
first.
You're live?
Everyone was okay except for my car. That's what I was telling people. I was like, no, my baby, you know, because I paid off this car and it was like my baby. And I realized at that moment, like how attached I was to something that really doesn't matter. Because, you know, once it's totaled, you look at it and you're like, oh, this is just a bunch of metal that I put so much of my emotions and my ownership and all of that into.
A bunch of metal.
Plastic, metal, you know what I mean? And I learned a lesson. An important one. And I started detaching from my material things at that moment. Like, I guess I needed to go through that experience. Sometimes spirit does that for you. I always tell people it's for you and it's not to you. Nothing is happening to you. It's happening for you.
Absolutely. You know, sometimes it's really hard for us to like change situations because we get so stuck in comfort, and like where we're comfortable, there's no growth happening. Like we're in a comfort zone, somewhere that we feel safe, and there's nothing that's going to come from that. Like you're going to stay the same. You'll literally like just when we, you know, have crazy things happen, it sometimes can edge us out of that comfort zone that we really need. It can kind of just give you that extra little push. And sometimes it feels like the hardest and the worst possible thing for us. And then like, you really like what's waiting on the other side is like part of the beautiful transformation. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do it again because it works so well. But like with the butterfly, like when it's a caterpillar, like, you know, there's probably certain feelings that come up that are unpleasant, that it feels like it has to like internalize and get into its cocoon and like really start to, you know what I mean? Like there's probably like a physical process that happens with that, just like when we have these rough things that happen to us in our life. And then like I said, you know, or like what happened, not like what I said, but like what happens, it's transformed and created to be more beautiful on the other side, and it's got more than it ever really dreamed or desired that it could have. It takes flight. So it's like us with our spiritual wings.
I loved that you said that. And as we were talking about all of this, you know, transformation and all of that, I had this vision in my pineal, third eye chakra, of like us going through different stages in life. Because we do go through those different stages. And as you enter one stage, leave one stage and you enter another, it's like you're walking through a portal. And that portal is what we call the transformational area or era or whatever, where you're going through these changes. So we're constantly walking through portals. I know you're pondering something.
I like that.
But like
portals, I like portals.
Yes, there's many portals around that we're walking through within this dimension that takes us to another level, like spiritually, and it's all about the evolution of the soul.
There's levels to this shit.
So I don't know, maybe I was doing a reading or something, or maybe I was talking to you, but we're talking about the teenage years. Like, did you enjoy your teenage years?
We were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, and like how it's
absolutely fucking not.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know why people would say if I ever go back to like in time, I would go back to my teenage years. I absolutely hated. I hate using that word.
And I loved
not
that
like
yesterday
that.
when we were talking about that, because like I recently, like in my living situation and stuff, I've been around high schoolers, just because of the people that I'm currently living with and stuff. And like, it's been so, I don't even know the word. Like, me being able to see high schoolers nowadays, not that I'm not that old, like,
No,
really,
you're not.
I'm not that old.
None of us are.
No, we're not. But like, still, there's
nothing wrong with being of a mature age
No.
Life happens old.
But like, looking at what they're going through and all of this stuff that they're being taught to think and say and feel and do, and I'm telling, like, I mean, I don't hold back with these teenagers. I tell them what's up. I'm like, yeah, you know, you're creating.
You get the real deal with Brie.
Yeah, all the matrix pixels around you are coming from your soul, kind of, and it's a co-creation with everyone else. It's a fun time. They're like, what? But like, it was so interesting yesterday when you had mentioned
the hormones,
and the energy
stuck between. Yeah,
like,
so I want to kind of like,
physical.
I want to explain that, like, what happens to us in the teenage years, energetically. Like, we know what happens in the body with the hormones and everything, but like it's really like one of the toughest transitions, because you're going from childhood to adolescence, right? And then you're going to adulthood. And so, you know, of course, some kids want to hold on to their childhood, but then at the same time, energetically and spiritually, your inner dimensions are opening up to you. Certain wisdom is coming to you, but not like full force, you know, just little by little, you're tapping into your wisdom, unaware, of course. And this is why teenagers sometimes feel like they know everything. They know it all. I know it all, but because they're also holding on to their childhood, and then they're like gaining, you know, certain wisdom, and like they don't know which way to go. It's like a tug of war, you know what I mean? Like, which way do I go? And that's gonna cause the hormones to be imbalanced and just go crazy.
And it's so confusing.
But it doesn't have to be, you know, like having like parents with that level of awareness kind of helps, because they can guide you through it. But if not, that's okay too. You can guide yourself through it. You know, just be open with yourself. Sorry, I have like cat hair flying everywhere.
Thanks, Angel.
So from what I remember from that channeling, that's what I remember. I wish like I can like write these down or record them, because I don't always remember everything, because I step aside when the information comes through. But I thought it was fascinating, like, and it makes so much sense, you know. And like, they're walking through a portal.
Yeah, and like I said yesterday, like I remember when I was a teenager and getting into my, right when I hit the 20s, like having that tug of war going on and being like, within yourself, wasn't I just a child yesterday?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, I'm a little confused. I still feel like this situation that just arose, I could see it through a child's perspective, but I can also see it through this strange adult creature that I've been morphed into by, you know, my environment and everything. So.
We are a product of our environment, and that doesn't help either sometimes. It really doesn't.
So,
such trying times. Go ahead, Katie.
I want to add to all that. I personally hated my teenage years. It was a lot that went on, and I, you know, we're not taught in our society how to deal with a lot of different things. But one thing that I really think is important, and that what, you know, is a good message for anybody, even right here, right now, is, you know, that everybody grows and everybody develops in a different way, and everybody's always in a different place. It doesn't matter what age you are. Like, our society puts such an intrinsic value on the ages and where you're supposed to be at developmentally, and with this and that. And then what it's caused is like this whole society of people that we constantly compare and contrast ourselves to other people. But like, the thing is, and that goes in with self-worth, with what we were talking about earlier, like my self-worth isn't going to be based on what your self-worth is. And just because I do this or do that in this time or this time doesn't have any basis to do with my self-worth. It's completely unrelated. But because we compare so much with our peers and with people around us, you know, we're in school and we want to be like everybody else, or we want to fit in, or this or that. And it's like, it's just so irrelevant, because like we bring such, you know, we all bring such different things to the table. We all have different gifts. We all have different messages. We all have, you know, different things that we can contribute to society, to the world as a whole. You know, everybody's a reflection, but we're constantly giving off different things, a part of that reflection, so that we can help others to see. So like what you bring to the table isn't going to be what somebody else brings to the table. We all have unique gifts. And it's just, you know, it's amazing because we base so much of our self-worth on the comparison of where we're at, you know, against other people. And it's so not true. And it, you know, I still do it sometimes. Like I've been programmed as well. And, you know, that's one of the things that I'm working on, is that, you know, don't compare yourself, don't judge, don't pass any of that, because, you know, you're right where you need to be. And you know what you need. God knows what you need for you. And if you tap into that and you kind of like sit with self and you really internally do some digging, and, you know, you spiritually are connected and you ask, then, you know, you'll be given the answers that you need, and you'll know that to be where you're at. But yeah.
I love that you said the comparison, and that is something that we've been conditioned to learn, because we come from such a competitive society. You're competing from the time you're in kindergarten or in preschool through life. You know, you're being rated or graded or whatever, and there's sports as well. I hope I don't offend any sports fans. But I mean, there's a lot of good that comes out of competitive sports, because you learn to be like, you know, work as a team towards a certain goal. But at the same time, you're working as a team to compete against another team and completely like obliterate, you know, the other team. So that's built within us, that competitiveness. It's not always bad, but finding the balance is where we struggle as humanity. We are such extreme beings.
We like to take things to the max.
Level infinity. Go hard or go home.
Seriously, that's the human motto, I think.
That's the thing.
Like, and that's what people do. Like, think about it. Just think about it for a second. Like with a diet, let's say. Okay. Oh, well, I'm going to, you know, go on this diet, and I have to be so hardcore about it. And and like, there's many examples you can give, you know, but it's like, if you really put yourself in a box like that, I mean, I was on super restricted diets for years, and like, it's, you know, it just doesn't.
Breathe.
Sorry.
Breathe. Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, you know, I think that it's really, I love that you guys say that, because I think that, you know, it's definitely true to my story, and I'm sure that it's relatable to a lot of other people. But I'm like all in when I do something, and I always want to do it the most, and I always like go so hard on myself. And it really is about finding that level balance, and just, you know, not. I feel like too, like when we're competing so hard, like you're resisting stuff, and then, you know, what you resist is what persists. So it's a form of resistance to be able to like, to try to like box yourself in and like make definitives for yourself, you know. But the point of the matter is that we're humans. Like, we fuck up. Excuse my language, but yeah, you know, like that's what we're here to do. And so, you know, we're going to be the hardest on ourselves out of anybody, you know, and it's important that we realize that to be gentle with ourselves. So like one of my connections with my higher power and what I ask for in signs and messages for myself is through animals. And whenever frequently I'm being very, very tough on myself, I'll see deer, and deer is the representation of being gentle with yourself and bringing it back in, going back to the basics. I really think that, you know, that it's important that we remind ourselves about the gentleness, as well as, and the competing. I wanted to say about that too. Competing is good. There's healthy competition for sure. Because it can motivate, it can drive you to do bigger and better things, you know, to like one up yourself, like to raise the bar, I guess, if you will. But, you know, there is a fine line and a balance for it, to where it can be an unhealthy competition. And that's where judgment comes into play, and like comparing and contrasting yourself to other people, when, like I said, we all have unique individual worth. It's,
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I don't mean to say that competitiveness is terrible, but I
Yeah,
feel like
no,
it's
it's
totally outplayed in our society, especially in school systems. And I'm not just
great.
talking about the American school systems. I went to school also somewhere else where the competitiveness is so extreme that students are highly stressed, highly depressed, and even committing suicide. Like it should never, ever, ever get to that point.
You know, I really want to say too, based off, right off that, sorry, just 1 minute. But
No, yeah.
that the way that society, like our, really not even just society, but like our world, like what we base success off of is so twisted. You know, like we've taken out arts and other things that are completely beautiful that people flourish and thrive at. And so people like really think that they have to fit in these boxes. I think it was, yeah, this is an Albert Einstein quote. And I actually, it's so synchronistic, of course, but I said this earlier today to my dad, but um, the intelligence of a fish, or don't base the abilities of a fish based on like his ability to fly, basically something along those lines. I know I fucked that up, but you know,
No,
like if you're
that's
basing
beautiful.
what a fish can do, yeah, what a fish can do, and you're like trying to compare it for flight, like it's not, you know, it's not going to have what it needs. Like it's a completely different perspective. It's good at completely different things. And I think the stresses that are put on our society and other societies, you know, are unrealistic because it's, you know, we're trying to fit people in these boxes. And the fact of the matter is that, you know, our human mind likes to box things up. It helps us to feel like things are controlled and managed, you know, and it's good to have control and management and an organization within things, but it's also good for the flow, which is the feminine energy, you know, the organization, the structure, that's all masculine energy. And it's important we have those things, but then also the divine flow, the feminine energy to go with it. And that's what creates, you know, the big spiral, the big picture, to have both of them working together. Like it's a divine dance. It's the marriage, the sacred marriage of both of them, not trying to resist one or the other and have them win. And so you know, I think it's important to like understand that, like I think I've said this a bunch of times, but to understand our self-worth with knowing that we can go beyond certain limits, and that what society says isn't necessarily like what it is, and to like understand what our true core is, and to like to be true to that, to be honest with that, to be authentic with that, because it's not going to be exactly necessarily what you see or what you hear or what's around you.
Oh God, I that's beautiful. There's like nothing I can add to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Like our self-worth needs to be restored as a society. And it would be great if we saw some changes taking place in school systems, because it really does start with the youth. It
Yeah.
starts with the youth, and if we can restore that within them and allow them to be the true imaginator, is that the word?
Imaginative.
Imaginative beings that they are, and encourage that imagination
Yeah,
to
don't
flow.
beat it into the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
Imagination
there's
is where
plenty
it's
of
at.
opportunity for that later in life, but allow them to be children.
Yeah.
And so they grow up with these core values that are going to help them on their journey. You're preparing your children for what you call the real world.
Yeah.
I was going to do this again. I'm trying not to do the quotes now, because it's been brought to my attention. I do that a lot.
It's great. Well, the children nowadays are not the children in the
so
past.
advanced.
So it's getting.
What are they, star seeds now? I mean, there was like indigo children. There's star seeds. There's, I don't know. There's so much.
There's a lot. The rainbow children,
Emmy,
crystal children.
Open a metaphysical school.
There's so many. Actually, I was listening to a podcast, and they had like a list of over 70 different types, and each type has a specific job, and they know who they are when they come in, and they know they didn't forget themselves. You know, they know what's going on, and they're immune to these super lower vibrational things. So even when they're around absolute chaotic situations, like the neighbors, the place where I currently live, the neighbors are like, there's a little bit of chaos going on over there. And I can just tell that these kids are like more immune on a level that I don't even understand. And I get this feeling inside of me, and I'm just like, oh my God, these kids are going to do such amazing things because they have such a hard upbringing. And isn't that how it goes? Right? I mean, you go through tough stuff and you come out a butterfly. So
take flight, people. Take flight.
Yeah.
Take flight.
So I do have to say that I'm guilty of air quotes as well, so don't feel bad. And I have to read the actual quote of the Albert Einstein because otherwise it'll drive me crazy that I misquoted
Please
it.
do it. You're just like me. It will bother me. I will not sleep.
Oh, like, oh, there's probably so many people that are like, she fucked that up. No, but
no,
okay,
wait.
so.
Stop with the judgment. Stop with the judgment.
Oh, you're right. But that's why I have to fix it anyway. It's for myself. This is for me. So everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid.
Yes.
And I see so much of that, like, especially in my culture, the way that the schools are back home. And
like nowadays, what I'm seeing is like we just have to let children go about things in their own ways, because the ways that things have been done in the past actually are not going to work for these new types of children coming in. Like,
there's some uprooting that needs to take place.
There's some major
the societal stuff, you know, especially
and change, you know.
All right. So I think we're gonna end it now.
Yeah.
We've covered enough on self-worth.
I agree.
But thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Oh my gosh, Katie,
thank
Bree,
you,
everyone in the live chat.
Yeah, thank you,
I love
everybody,
you guys.
for watching,
for contributing.
Anyone who's gonna watch later.
Yes, thank you, and I hope this resonates and helps you guys in some way. So
we set that intention, and we just hope.
We will see you on the next one. Okay.
Much love.
Much love.
Bye.